I'm talking to Lisa O'Connor. Lisa, I interviewed you a couple of weeks ago on the airplane. Just tell us a bit about the demo here today.
Hiya, Darren. Yeah, I'm so happy. We have a fantastic turnout now here. So many rescues and people with their dogs. It's fantastic, and thanks for coming yourself.
And you're calling for animal theft to be, the penalties to be significantly increased, yeah?
Yeah, and for pet theft specific crime as well. That a dog is recognised not just as an object, but as a being with feelings, and yeah.
And we're here beside Stephen's Green. We're going to go for a bit of a march now, are we?
Yeah, we're either going to go Department of Justice or Department of Agriculture. We'll see now in a second, yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you again, Lisa.
Okay, thanks, Darren.
Hi, my name is Ari. I'm from the National Dog Authority of Ireland, and I'm here to support the ladies here in their fight for stricter laws around animal welfare. Animals, they've been a strong reason as to why we've survived and had major success in our lives between the German Shepherds and ratting dogs and herding dogs, and they deserve a lot more than what we're giving them at the current in legislation.
I've never heard of your organisation. You're an authority, eh?
We're a small group of dog trainers, and we're trying to grow up around the country, so we've 8 groups in total, and through our groups we are trying to provide a safe space for dog trainers around the country to be able to discuss their cases with other dog trainers and be able to share their methods in a way that will create the least adversive reaction within dogs and create the most success for the dog, and hopefully enrich their lives a lot more. Through the organisation as well, we do try to educate owners around the country about responsible dog ownership and safety while out in public.
They're based in different places, eh?
It is. We have Kilkenny, Carlow, Laois, Wexford, Tramore, Dublin and Galway so far.
With our LittleHill Animal Rescue and Sanctuary based in Ballymore Hustes in Cllr. And we came here today because the shocking the way the legislation does not look after the animals in the country. There's not enough justice for the animals, and there's not enough what's the word I'm looking for?
Justice?
No, not justice, no. Penalties for people who commit the atrocities of taking dogs, abusing dogs, and not only dogs, cats, on all animals, because LittleHill are an all animal rescue. There's no animals they don't take in, so we're not just a cat and dog rescue. We do sheep and goats, horses, pigs, chickens, mainly the hens, and all sorts of animals, so even a few hedgehogs as well. So we are an all animal sanctuary, and that's why we're just here to lend our voice to today's demonstration.
Yeah, I've heard over the last couple of years, like everyone else, a lot of stories about the increase in dogs getting robbed, but you're saying other animals get robbed as well sometimes, do they?
I don't know if they get robbed. They get strayed. They be let go. They're not looked after, so they don't want to look after. They have high veterinary bills. They just let go to fend for themselves, and that's shocking. So all animals deserve to have proper veterinary work done to them if they need it, and then just to let them stray because you can't afford or can't be bothered is still wrong. So you'd be surprised the amount of ducklings. We have loads of ducklings as well. They get just abandoned. People get them, so it's just and people are hatching cockerels and just abandoning them everywhere and anywhere, and they need proper care. They're not just sort of animal you can just let out, because once they can be quite vicious as well if they don't have anyone to look after them, and 2, they can't be just kept in someone's back garden without proper care, and a lot of them are being abandoned around the area, around Ireland.
But the main reason the demo's on today is to call for the government to increase the penalties for stealing dogs.
Yes, because we've heard of dogs getting their chips cut out of them, and that needs to be enforced as well, the microchipping, so that if their dogs are found, they can be returned to their rightful owners, and to enforce as well cats, the chips of cats as well, because it makes a huge difference if you want your animal to be returned. And a lot of people paid a lot of money for their dogs. We don't condone that, but there's a lot of rescues need homes, but if they have and they don't microchip them, it's stupid, because if your dog is taken, you'll never get it back, ever. So that's what we're here today for.
We're here from T.N.R West Dublin Rescue, and we're here basically to give animals a voice because the level of animal welfare in this country is substandard and animals are suffering all the time, every day. And it's time that the government took note and done something to change it and started to enforce the very weak animal welfare laws that we have already.
The demo today is particularly about calling for stronger penalties for animal theft, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the reasons we're demonstrating here today. Yes. Yeah.
No, I just share stolen dogs on both sides of the Irish Sea to all the groups, all the pages on Facebook. And it's more rampant than people think these days. There's big businessmen included in this ring.
BBC Northern Ireland had an investigation on it last year, didn't they?
That's right, they did. I was just reading that there yesterday on Facebook, and they did have a change in their law there a while ago where it was a 5-year sentence for dog thieves, but that hasn't been really processed properly, that law, because no judges are actually handing down that 5-year sentence. There should be a mandatory sentence of 5 years for dog theft everywhere. Dogs are classed as property, and a piece of property that's not insured on top of that means thieves will only get a slap on the wrist. It's just like stealing a bar of chocolate from your pocket when you steal someone's family pet. Dogs have no voice, and we're just here to speak up for them. We're their voice.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. We're here now with for the Déise Animal Sanctuary, and for the same reason we're here to be a voice for the animals.
That's obviously Waterford.
Yes, it's up in the T.N.R Valley. We're here to support them as well. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not struggling, but they're getting a bit of how would I say? I don't want to be saying too much without saying too much, if you get me. But we're just here for the same reason, to be voices for the dogs and for the Déise Animal Sanctuary.
Hi, my name is Dowling. I'm a veterinary nursing lecturer in Dundalk IT. Here today supporting the cause for dogs that have been mistreated, abused in the country, not protected by the legislation. 2 dogs at home. Unfortunately, they couldn't come with me today, and I'm here because they're my family. So, best of luck to everyone today.
The demo today is in particular about dogs and animals in general getting stolen. That's a huge issue, isn't it?
Absolutely huge. There's absolute scumbags out there making a fortune, breeding dogs in terrible conditions, and people that are still stupid enough, despite all the press, to go and buy them. So I'd say keep your money in your pocket, go to the shelters and adopt a dog.
We came here especially from Galway today. Our purpose is that our dog Baya was stolen from us 2 years ago, and we got her miraculously back in January, but no one realised how much trauma we were passing through, and our kids lost a dog just before Christmas. Okay, it's nice to have her back, but 2 years without a dog was just traumatic. So that's why something had to get changed in Ireland because of this.
She was found because of microchip, was it?
Excuse me again?
She was found because of her microchip?
Yeah, she was found in a microchip. She was wandering in Tala, and someone picked her up, bring to the local kennel, and when they scanned her, she was registered as stolen dog, so that's why I got a phone call. Yeah.
So you're here because you think there should be a strict penalty for stealing dogs and animals in general, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, and especially that our dog probably was stolen just for pet farm, so she was really leg-led. After that 2 years, she really lost on health. So.
Do you know if she had puppies while she was gone?
She didn't have a puppies because she was neutrate, so probably that's why they let her go after 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
My name is Laois Caulfield and I'm from Waterford, and I'm here to protest regarding the plights of animals that are stolen, the plights of the owners that are left bereft by the stealing of the family members. There is legislation there. There is laws there. These laws are not being upheld. We need the Gardaí to stand up. We need the Department of Agriculture to stand up and recognise that these are people's family members, and that laws should be progressed and harsh sentences for those who steal people's dogs, and follow through with the laws that are there.
there are laws there, but they're not very strict either, are they?
They're not being policed. We need a department that will police these laws and ensure that the laws are fulfilled. Every day there is abuse, there is thefts, and there is legislation there. We'd like the legislation to be copper fastened, that people can feel some justice when their animals family members are affected.
From Drogheda Animal Rescue, and we're here to highlight to the government that urgent action is required. The rescues they have a responsibility to all the rescues and to the animals of the country, because the rescues are overfull, and some basic support will go a hell of a long way. Like even with the cats, the T.N.R schemes, with the dogs in the pounds, there's so much. We need the help of the government. We can't keep going, and the country's at crisis. We have to do something. We need the guards to step up, and we need the government to take responsibility.
And the demo today is in particular about animals getting stolen, isn't it?
There are a lot of animals being stolen, and it's very difficult to get the guards to take reports of animals stolen. Most owners know their animals. They know that they've gone missing. They know that they have gone for a walk, and they know their usual behaviour. So if somebody comes in and reports that their animal has been stolen, they know they've been stolen, but the proof is the onus is on the owner to prove that the animal is stolen, and the guards won't take it. Take the fact that the owner knows their animal as being the proof. They're looking for, have you got CCTV, is somebody stealing the animal? And that's not always possible, but the owners know the animal is gone.
And even if the person that robbed the dog gets caught, usually the penalties are not very strict, aren't they?
Absolutely, because the most they're going to get charged with is handling stolen property, and the person is always going to say they found the dog somewhere, and then if the dog is recovered, that the owner is just so delighted to get the dog back. It's very, very hard at the moment to prove that the person who has the dog, the stolen dog, is the one that stole it, and the guards have no training in relation to animal welfare or what to do, and they're reluctant to get involved as well. So unfortunately, that's what we're here today to do, is to highlight that there are issues the government needs to look at, and the authorities have a responsibility and they just have to step up.
My name is Maurice Dockrell. I'm a local authority councillor in Dundalk for Fine Gael, and I'm here to support this demonstration because to get animals reclassified, it's particularly insidious or invidious if an animal is stolen. It's a member of a family and it's akin to a bereavement, and Irish law is deficient in that it defines animals as property, not as living sentient beings that are in this context part of families. Also, I think the penalties for theft of animals are far, far too low, and we also have a massive problem in Ireland with enforcement. Every animal should be enforced by law. They should be microchipped, and they simply aren't being, and that has to be tackled.
Are you calling for that in your party and from the government ministers?
I would indeed, of course, yes. It's a matter of the law as it stands is deficient in definition of animals, defining them as property. In other words, they're the same as a chair or a car or something. And I think they should be given a greater status, such as has been given to animals in Spain now recently, I believe. They're defined as sentient beings that are part of a family, and that makes a major difference. But also, so I would call upon my own party to be instrumental in changing the law in this area, but also much greater enforcement of how animal thefts are handled and treated, and greater penalties by the courts as well. I think there's a need for new legislation for much harsher penalties for theft of animals.
And now I'm talking to John O'Callaghan from Dog Advocacy Ireland. John, I interviewed John a couple of weeks ago. Can you tell me a bit more about why you're here today, please?
How are you, Darren? Good to meet you again, and good to be on Cllr FM. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm here largely to support this demonstration today in relation to missing and stolen animals, which was organised by Lisa O'Connor. It's good to have a public meeting like this, and for people to come out with their dogs and to show solidarity with other dog/animal welfare groups. So yeah, that's why I'm here today, to support it. You know, there's so many lapses in legislation in relation to missing and stolen pets that you know this is a worthy cause. Our our pets, our animals in Ireland, are not recognised in law as sentient beings. So when they go missing or stolen, they're simply regarded as objects, like a laptop or a phone that's been stolen. So they're, as pet lovers and dog lovers in particular, we're only too well aware that they're not just dogs or not just cats. They're part of our family. So we are sentient beings with emotions, feelings, the same as humans. So that needs to be recognised in legislation. And also, microchipping is not being enforced in this country. We have the legislation, but like a lot of things in relation to dogs through animal welfare, there's little or no enforcement. So it's time that we create a public awareness of what's not happening and the negligence in the areas of dog/animal welfare. So again, those are the reasons why I'm here in Sutton.
Is there any more development or news with Dog Advocacy Ireland, like in general?
Yes, there is. There's a lot happening behind the scenes with Dog Advocacy Ireland. Darren, there are a number of people who've come on board to assist us and who want to help us in terms of legal people and some lobbyists and that in terms of political system. So yes, there's a lot happening behind the scenes. There'll be a radio advertising campaign coming up in the next few weeks, so people will get to know and hear a lot more about Dog Advocacy Ireland. So the message is being put out there.
That's great, John. I'll be talking to you on Air FM again in the next few months.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you.
And now I'm talking to Gerben from the Party for Animal Welfare. Gerben, how's it going? Can you tell us why you're here, please?
Yeah, it's a nice turnout because there's a lot of missing animals. You probably during COVID, a lot of dogs and cats were traded here, and unfortunately, puppy farming is still allowed here in Ireland, and it should be stopped. Now, of course, you can apply for a license to have a legal puppy farming, but I think it's such a very grey area between illegal and legal puppy farming. So I think it should be definitely abolished according to us. And that's one thing. You see a lot of rescues here. We're very much involved against protests against greyhound racing. And last week we had a protest against animal testing at Charles River in Ballina in Mayo. And another thing which should be stopped. It's a disgrace that universities here in Ireland are still involved with animal testing. Well, it's 90% of the tests, more than 90%, actually 100% could be replaced by computer modeling. There's so many alternatives for animal testing. So, and there's a great turnout. There's about 100 people here, and that's great.
Dogs.
What? A few dogs here as well, yes. And every rescue counts for two, I think, because a dog or cat or any animal here, it's a sentient being. Sentient beings should be protected here by law. There should be. It should be enshrined in the Irish Constitution that sentient beings or animals should have equal rights to humans. So both non-humans and humans should have equal rights.
Okay, and the demo here today is in particular about animals getting stolen, dogs and animals.
Yes, exactly. As I said, especially during COVID, that has cut quite a hike. Rescues are inundated with dogs and cats which are stolen, like the rare cats and dogs as well, and then some of these dogs are then taken or something, and then you see them later on the back roads. And then they're standing there all idle, and that's why the rescues are so overfull.
So how was the party going on? The Party for Animal Welfare?
Okay, so we've got a good few members last few weeks. One lady from Cllr, as a result of the better animal testing in Leitrim. We have identified also somebody who wants to run for a local election in the smallest county in Ireland, together with Leitrim. So it's very important that we get representatives elected on behalf of the voiceless animals. Because if we could put a dog or a cat for election, I've got 2 rescues myself. If I could put my rescued cat for election, I would. But I'm basically their spokesperson. Now, we are modeled after the Dutch Party for Animals. It's called the Partij voor Dieren. They've got 60 councillors. They've got 5 members of parliament. And they've got 1 MEP. That's something we would love to be as well. We are part of an international movement. It's called the Animal Politics Foundation. And it's very important that we stand together united for the animals.